Good afternoon. It is Friday, November 19th, 2010. Well, Thanksgiving is in a week. I hope everybody enjoys their break and their time with family or friends, whoever you spend it with. My next blog, I was going to talk about the Fed's latest move, but I think this TSA story is so important right now and so crucial to this struggle for more liberty, for freedom against intrusive government. And this whole event just symbolizes perfectly just how far we have fallen and how much we have allowed the government to treat us, in the words of Ron Paul on the House floor, treat us like cattle. And that's exactly what this is. Brief overview, I'm sure every one of my viewers has heard about this, but not too long ago, they've been phasing it in, but they introduced these body scanners, naked body scanners, where it sees your, where the scanner shows your naked image. It's very clear. In fact, the pictures you see on the media, the TSA gets a lot more clear of a picture than that. And actually, if you inverse it, it looks like just a plain naked picture, but very graphic. And then the radiation, there's a ton of concerns about that. If you go to a dental office and you get x-rayed, they give you all this protective stuff, and the dentist leaves the room during the x-ray. But for a body scanner emitting, just flooding you with all this radiation, there's no protection. So there's a lot of health concerns with that. Now, they really want people to go through these body scanners. They're saving the images. That's why they want this. They're saving the images, and they just want to collect all this data. So in order to intimidate people to go through these things, they have introduced these, what they call enhanced pat-downs. Some people have called grope downs, because what they do is they grab your private parts. I'm not going to get graphic here, but I mean, they grab your private parts. Lately, there's been reports of them putting their hands inside people's pants, touching the buttocks, touching everything multiple times. And sometimes they'll do it even if you go through the body scanner. And they pick out women and children, 3-year-old children screaming. I saw a video of a toddler screaming, yelling. The TSA person's groping her. If any one of us did that, we would be thrown in prison for 10 years, and justifiably so. You don't have a right to do that. The TSA is not immune to the law. Sexual molestation, period. I don't care. But they say this is for security. Well, let's put some things in perspective. Since 2001, since 9/11, I got this from Ron Paul's House speech, so I'm borrowing it from his speech. 400,000 people have died on the highways. So, you know, what do we do about that? Do we put, you know, do we introduce all these things on highways? 150,000 people have died to homicide. People have been killed in shopping malls. People have been killed in schools. People have been killed in public parks. Way more than the 2,000 to 3,000 people who died in 9/11. So, you know, this has nothing to do with security. There are way more other dangerous activities that people participate in. You have a greater chance of being struck by lightning twice in 1 year than being hit by, you know, Al-Qaeda or whatever the latest fetish is about hating Muslims. So, I mean, it's not even, none of us are even really at risk of any of this. Yet we are told we have to sacrifice our liberties. We have to sacrifice our integrity as human beings. This is a very dehumanizing act. I mean, this is what dictators do. Stalin did stuff like this. Mao did. Hitler did. This is dictator-like stuff. And even if it did make us safer, which it doesn't, all right. If I'm correct, the underwear bomber, who by the way was helped on by a government agent. So I won't even get into that. But you can look all that up. But the underwear bomber, I believe he left out of the Netherlands, and the Netherlands had these naked body scanners. So, I mean, this has nothing to do with security. It's all about control and money. Michael Chertoff, the Director of Homeland Security, a couple years ago, before this underwear bombing. He bought the rights or started this company for these naked body scanners, and since they introduced them in the airport, he's made billions. Conflict of interest there. I mean, we just let this open corruption. Janet Napolitano, big sis, openly lies on TV and says that research says that the radiation is safe when all the research has said no, or we need to be careful, we don't know the effects. I mean, so our country has fallen so bad. Can you imagine if the British during the 1770s ordered the colonists to line up their children because a few British tax collectors were tarred and feathered? Can you imagine what the response would have been if the British insisted that they grope the colonists' children and women? I mean, and men too. I mean, the revolution would have began earlier than 1776, but the American people put up with it because we are no longer alert to tyranny. We have taken for granted the fact that we live in a relatively free country, although that's been declining, so we think, oh, it can't happen here. But it is happening here. Benjamin Franklin, what did Franklin say? Franklin said, those who give up their liberty for safety deserve neither and will get neither. So if you think, oh, I need to be safe, so I'm going to give up some liberties, you don't deserve you deserve to live in a dictatorship if you think that way. No offense if some of y'all still support this, but maybe I do mean offense. If you really support this kind of stuff in the name of safety, then go ahead and move to North Korea. Because North Korea, I bet it's very safe. It's also miserable, but you'll be safe there at least. You know, the founders, what would they have thought of Homeland Security? Homeland Security? How Orwellian does that sound? Why can't we have the Defense Department defend this nation? Why do we need a special Homeland Security? Abolish Homeland Security. Abolish the TSA. The TSA needs to go. We have two alternatives to the TSA. One, airports can hire their own private security firms. Or B, I think this is a better option, have each airliner choose, have their own security. So Delta has their security, US Air has their security. So if you really feel safer being groped and being flooded with radiation, if that makes you feel safer, then fine. Choose the airline company who does that. I'm going to choose the airline company who has me pass through a simple metal detector, or who allows guns in the cockpit. That's the airliner I would choose. So why can't we privatize airport security? That's the best alternative in my view. There is a lot of optimism I see from this. First of all, many GOP politicians are rising up against this. Not just Ron Paul. There's been several others who have said no. Ann Coulter said no, no, no. You know, mainstream people are talking about this, and so I feel pretty good about it. There's a grassroots revolt going on right now, and that feels good. This is like the Tea Party in a way. The people are rising up and saying, no, enough is enough. But where is the left on this issue? I've seen some people on the left condemn this, but overall they've been silent. Huffington Post hardly has any articles about it. All these other leftist blogs have ignored it. Joe Biden and Barack Obama have defended it. Of course, their whole administration is behind it, so of course they're going to defend it. But where's the left? The left seems to, in the last 2 years, has fallen in love with tyranny. They don't have a problem with it anymore. Oh, Obama reauthorized the Patriot Act? Oh, okay, big deal. During Bush, they were calling him a Nazi and, you know, saying he should be impeached because of the Patriot Act. But Obama reauthorizes it and they don't even make a peep. And then if one of us does, they call us a nut job. You know, but whatever, they're becoming irrelevant, so it doesn't matter. Next week, Thanksgiving week, I think is going to be big. Man, I think there could potentially be some conflicts at the airports if the TSA insists on doing this. I mean, boy, if I was married and had kids and I took my kids to the airport and some dope try to grab their private areas, I'd be tempted to punch them in the face. I mean, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens next week. Don't be surprised if the federal government, don't be surprised if all of a sudden we hear stories about bombings going on in airplanes, and be skeptical the minute you hear that. You know, it's scary what's going on right now, but listen, we are living in revolutionary times. I know I'm talking real big right now, but this is so important, and I feel really good about how many people are standing up and are alert to what's going on. So anyway, opt out, opt out, opt out, and then don't let them touch you. If you go to the airport and they try to grope you, say no and back away, and don't use violence, but refuse to let them touch you and refuse to go through these radiation naked body scanners. Man, I'm not flying, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm driving. I'm not going to fly anymore as long as this is going on. But anyway, enjoy your Thanksgiving. Be thankful for what freedoms we have left, and be aware that we need to do everything we can to preserve them. That's what being American is. That's what this flag is about. You understand me? All right. Everybody have a good Thanksgiving, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.